Welcome to you all to the virtual parallel session of the 68th Commission on the Status of Women, or CSW 68, on women, poverty and discrimination, the story of the nomadic women of Rajasthan and the indigenous women of Mexico. Here, I would like to point out that the event is being recorded and the recording will be shared with you later. Additionally, if you have any questions, please type them in the chat box, and especially the questions which are pertaining to the presentation today will be addressed towards the end of the session as time permits. To introduce myself, I am Aditya Divya Singh, and I will be facilitating the session today. Just to tell you briefly that I work at a university in India and I engage with courses related to German and intercultural studies, multilingualism and plurilingual education. I am also joined by Dr. Udita Bagchi, who is currently working with a German pharmaceutical company, Boehringer Ingelheim. And we have our two colleagues, Dan Baer and Julie Cormack, who will be providing us with technical assistance today. So we are all associated with Savas International in different capacities, and Udita, for example, and I as well as members, and Dan as part of the technical team, and Julie as a representative to the UN in New York. And I see that a lot of the members who are present today are also associated in different capacities with Savas. Here, I would like to briefly introduce Savas International. Established in 1949, it is an international, non-profit, non-governmental organization encompassing a network of hosts and travelers around the world. The purpose of the network is to help build world peace, goodwill, and understanding by providing opportunities for personal contacts among people of different cultures, backgrounds, and nationalities. Two wonderful speakers today, Dr. Hamsabaini Singh and Dr. Lily Kerkes, are also active members of Savas and would be recounting the stories of indigenous and nomadic women in their home countries. While the terms indigenous and nomadic are sometimes used interchangeably, as there are many indigenous groups that are also nomadic and vice versa, many scholars treat these two terms as distinct from one another. So nomads, derived from the ancient Greek nomos, meaning pasture, are communities without fixed habitation who regularly move to and from areas as ways of obtaining food, finding pasture for livestock, or otherwise making a living. Modern forms of nomadic people are variously referred to as shiftless, gypsies, refugees, or street people, the terms many times used in a pejorative sense. History is rife with examples of nomadic people, but their way of life has been threatened over the years, and they are faced with many trials and tribulations such as poverty, marginalization, and in recent years, the vagaries of climate change. Similarly, the nearly 476 million indigenous people living in 90 countries across the world and accounting for 6.2% of the global population also face several challenges. And in these marginalized groups, women and children in particular are disadvantaged and vulnerable to violence and discrimination. In December 1992, the General Assembly of the United Nations adopted a resolution to make 1993 the International Year of the World's Indigenous Peoples. Additionally, indigenous people speak an overwhelming majority of world's estimated 7,000 languages, and recognizing this, the year 2022 to 2032 were declared as the Decade of Indigenous Languages. Now, without further ado, I would like to welcome and introduce our first speaker, Dr. Lily Kerkes. Dr. Kerkes has been a volunteer in many different projects since she was 11 years old. She has a degree in art and cultural heritage from the UACM and has taken courses focused on the promotion of reading for early childhood. She is also a polyglot translator, cultural promoter, language teacher, author, hostess, and tourist guide, and has worked for 20 years in the dubbing industry. For 30 years, she has been part of Service International, where she has held various positions nationally and internationally. Dr. Kerekes was co-founder of a very successful exchange program, first in Mexico and then now internationally. She is about to graduate with a master's degree in defense and promotion of human rights. On a more personal note, she identifies as a feminist anarchist and enjoys cinema, animals, travel and sports, and Argentine rock music. Lily, over to you, please.
Thank you so much, Aditya. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I want to take this opportunity to thank Hamza, who invited me to be in this conference. Thank you very much. Also, Julie Cormack from Canada, and Dan, that is here. Aditya, thank you so much. I'm not doctor yet, but I hope to be a doctor sometime soon. So I hope you, all of you, we can share with you very important information about our countries and the people of our countries. I want to ask Dan, please, if you share with us the video. The video is in Spanish, but it has subtitles in English. Thank you very much.
En América Latina y las mujeres indígenas de México. La pobreza es un tema delicado porque sus orígenes y causas son multifactoriales y para muchas personas es una cuestión profundamente personal. La pobreza en sí se vive de diversas maneras en los distintos continentes y el concepto de dignidad depende del punto de vista y las circunstancias de cada persona. Para alguien del norte global, países históricamente desarrollados que incluyen Canadá, Estados Unidos, gran parte de Europa, Australia y Nueva Zelanda, pero para una persona que vive en América Latina o parte del sur global, puede ser algo completamente diferente debido a que comparten problemas sociales, económicos y culturales similares. Algunos factores que podemos identificar implicados en los orígenes de la pobreza global son el colonialismo, la esclavitud, las guerras, tanto internas como externas, y las invasiones. También hay que decirlo, existe una actitud de indiferencia de los pueblos del norte global hacia los pueblos del sur global, cuando en realidad gran parte de la pobreza del sur global se debe a la brutal explotación de los recursos por parte del norte global. Las ambiciones del norte global no tienen fin. Lo que el mundo necesita para ayudar a aliviar la pobreza es que la riqueza se distribuya de forma más equitativa, pero no se trata solo de riqueza, sino también de tecnología, economías y hoy en día sostenibilidad. A nivel mundial, empresas multinacionales se apropian de los recursos de los productores locales, además de contratar habitualmente mano de obra extranjera a precios muy bajos. No se trata de un intercambio, sino de una clara explotación, ya que millones de estos esclavos, a menudo sin sus familias, nunca alcanzarán un estilo de vida digno. Esto continuará durante generaciones porque muchos de estos trabajadores tienen que permanecer en esta situación para conseguir dinero que enviar a casa para ayudar a sus familias. Además, en muchos países, incluidos los en desarrollo, se gastan millones de dólares en el ejército, el control de drogas y las guerras internas. Me parece un eufemismo, ya que en este punto los llamados países en desarrollo nunca terminarán de desarrollarse, mientras que los países del norte global continúan su explotación continua. Todos sabemos que muchos países del sur global luchan por no tener acceso a los recursos más básicos y primarios, como agua limpia, especialmente para beber, alimentos nutritivos, educación y sanidad. En América Latina, aunque los gobiernos de izquierda, tales como el de Lula da Silva en Brasil, López Obrador en México, Pepe Mujica en Uruguay, han mostrado avances significativos en la reducción de la pobreza, estamos asistiendo a un retroceso en Argentina. Y gobiernos de derecha, como en Italia, la vida de los trabajadores inmigrantes que contribuyen a esa sociedad está en peligro. Una forma de erradicar la pobreza es una distribución más equitativa de los recursos e implicar a la población local. Sin embargo, este cambio es complicado porque a menudo son grandes empresas extranjeras las que participan y se benefician de estas industrias. en buena cantidad de empresas mineras canadienses que operan actualmente en México, especialmente en tierras sagradas indígenas. Junto con la minería está el impacto de los imperios inmobiliarios extranjeros que invaden y expanden las ciudades destruyendo a menudo elementos naturales como selvas, playas, montañas y colinas. Y en este proceso, para obtener más beneficios, utilizan materiales y mano de obra baratos. Esta gentrificación aumenta la brecha entre la población local o los extranjeros con dinero, que son la minoría, que pueden acceder a ciertas comodidades, mientras que a menudo obliga a la población local indígena y más pobre, la mayoría, a desplazarse porque no pueden permitirse permanecer en barrios cada vez más decadentes. Normalmente, y debo enfatizar este punto, al menos en México, es en los lugares más ricos, en nuestras playas y en los barrios más seguros, donde los extranjeros viven en ese estilo de vida que nosotros los mexicanos no podemos permitirnos. Otro problema en México es el impacto de la droga, cuyo origen y permanencia son resultado directo de la continua necesidad de drogas en los países vecinos. Estos cárteles ofrecen a los jóvenes dinero y bienes por sus servicios y al hacerlo los sacan de la fuerza de trabajo regular. Al sembrar el terror en los corazones de la población local que trabaja las tierras agrícolas, muchos abandonan el campo y no dejan a nadie que produzca los alimentos que tanto necesitan. Pero no se trata de dinero, se trata de justicia y equidad en la distribución equitativa de los recursos entre la población local. Necesitamos reducir la brecha económica cada vez mayor, un camino que permita a la gente romper el ciclo intergeneracional de pobreza que se ha mantenido durante siglos. Me gustaría señalar que la crisis climática que el mundo está experimentando a diario a través de sequías prolongadas o tormentas intensas acelera y perpetúa las condiciones de pobreza a través de la escasez y la inseguridad alimentaria, la desnutrición crónica y la falta de agua potable, como sufren especialmente los pueblos indígenas. La escasez de recursos hace que la población local, especialmente mujeres y niños, abandone una zona en formas de migraciones masivas y de proporciones nunca vistas, lo que repercute en los mercados laborales y abre la puerta a una mayor implicación extranjera. Así que, además de sufrir la esclavitud moderna, los trabajadores locales se convierten en peones en la espiral siempre envolvente de la necesidad como mano de obra barata, a menudo sin protección médica, permisos ni pensiones. En cierto modo, se encuentran en un vacío legal al tener que trabajar, pero no pueden permitirse enfermar o tener un accidente o quedarse en huelga. Aunque los 17 Objetivos de Desarrollo Sostenible de la ONU incluyen la necesidad de erradicar la pobreza, la pandemia del COVID asestó un duro golpe a los subempleados o desempleados, disminuyendo los beneficios económicos y sociales conseguidos por los trabajadores. Además, existen claras diferencias en educación y oportunidades tecnológicas y digitales entre el norte global y el sur global. ¿Quién sabe si la influencia de la inteligencia artificial tendrá en las economías del mundo? Yo les pregunto, ¿cómo se enfrentarán a este nuevo mundo tecnológico y digitalizado los niños que luchan diariamente por encontrar agua potable? Poblaciones vulnerables, mujeres indígenas en México. La pobreza afecta severamente a las mujeres porque son las cuidadoras con muchas responsabilidades. Las tareas domésticas, el cuidado de la casa, la crianza de los hijos, el sostenimiento de la economía familiar a través de la recolección, procesamiento y distribución de alimentos. Esta vida es más complicada para aquellas mujeres que se encuentran solas, sin marido, o con él pero sin su apoyo. Desgraciadamente, la violencia doméstica, incluidos los feminicidios, están cada vez más normalizados en la sociedad humana. Las mujeres indígenas o pertenecientes a comunidades nativas siguen enfrentándose a un racismo y una violencia sistémicos. En México es habitual que las mujeres que se dedican a la recolección estén embarazadas o acompañadas de sus bebés, porque no hay nadie en casa que cuide de ellos. Por lo general, la mayoría de las mujeres rurales del mundo no son propietarias de la tierra que trabajan, carecen de educación y como tal sus salarios son inferiores a los de los hombres, por lo que no tienen autonomía financiera. Desde la época de la conquista y colonización en México, los pueblos indígenas, por el simple hecho de serlo, han sufrido mucho: esclavitud, discriminación, violencia, marginación, exclusión y racismo. Estos comportamientos, que demuestran una profunda falta de comprensión de las formas tradicionales, desgraciadamente van en aumento y provocan acoso, ataques e incluso suicidios. En raras ocasiones se castiga a los autores. Muchos indígenas carecen de educación formal y no saben leer ni escribir, lo que los hace aún más vulnerables y marginados, sin oportunidades reales de un mejor acceso a los recursos económicos, financieros y laborales. Es necesario destacar que México es un país de tradición patriarcal, además de muy corrupto, por lo que existe una revictimización por parte del Estado, así como impunidad criminal en el caso de las mujeres que son secuestradas o asesinadas, la mayoría de las veces por sus propias parejas, estén casadas o no. Aunque no se puede negar que poco a poco, sobre todo en la política, las mujeres van avanzando, ocupando espacios que antes les eran negados, no ha sido suficiente. En nuestro país, la reforma al artículo 41 de nuestra Constitución mandata garantizar la paridad de género en las candidaturas a legisladores federales y locales. Usted se preguntará por qué las mujeres maltratadas y violentadas no escapan de su victimario, y la respuesta es muy sencilla: porque no tienen la autonomía material, psicológica ni emocional para separarse de sus familias, aunque este gran daño acabe con sus vidas. Por desgracia, los círculos de familias rotas, marginadas, en situación de pobreza extrema, se repiten ad infinitum, porque es un patrón que por diversas razones es muy complejo, por no decir casi imposible de romper o disolver, porque estas mujeres, sumergidas hasta el fondo de estos círculos, desconocen sus derechos. Muchas son analfabetas y fueron educadas de esta manera en una tradición familiar machista y patriarcal. En 2011, Marcela Lagarde señala la condición político-cultural de las mujeres como cautiverio e incluye la impunidad como un elemento que forma parte del problema de la violencia estructural. Una de las formas extremas de violencia de género está conformada por el conjunto de actos violentos misóginos contra las mujeres, que implica la violación de sus derechos humanos, atenta contra su seguridad y pone en riesgo su vida. El feminicidio se consuma porque las autoridades omisas, negligentes o en colusión con los agresores, ejercen violencia institucional contra las mujeres al obstaculizar su acceso a la justicia y contribuyen así a la impunidad. Sin embargo, una importante propuesta del 24 de marzo de 2022 de la diputada Claudia Montes de Oca del Olmo, integrante de que, de acuerdo con datos de la COPRED, la interseccionalidad de las mujeres indígenas las coloca en condiciones muy complejas que se incrementan cuando hay desastres y emergencias. Entre algunas de las acciones que Claudia propone están la formulación de planes y programas que apunten a la autonomía y empoderamiento social, económico, político y cultural de las mujeres, así como la erradicación de estereotipos de género, la colaboración interinstitucional entre las distintas instancias gubernamentales para la promoción e integración de las mujeres indígenas a la economía local y al mercado laboral, para reducir la brecha desigual en la que viven ellas y sus familias. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Dan. Now, I want to share with you an interview that I made with Paulina, that is here, and she can share with us the situation of indigenous women in Mexico. She belongs to an originary community, Mixteca, and she speaks Mixteco Bajo. She lives in Baja California Norte. Please, Dan, thank you.
Y bueno, tenemos en esta conferencia alterna una invitada muy especial, la maestra Paulina Gracida Martínez, que de hecho está terminando su doctorado en educación. Ella es oaxaqueña, pero vive en Baja California Norte y forma parte de una comunidad originaria. Es nativo hablante de Mixteco Bajo. Y en lugar de entrevista, preferí escucharla, que nos cuente sobre su situación, cómo ha superado diferentes obstáculos siendo miembro de una comunidad nativo hablante de Mixteco. Adelante, maestra, por favor.
Hola, Shna, Shinsikunto Tsiaso, Visita Shaviuli, Liñani Kamoshina, Nakanin, Sha, Kishiki, Sha, Insiayo. Muy buenas tardes, muchas gracias Lili por este espacio tan bonito donde podemos empoderarnos como mujeres, compartiendo nuestras experiencias, los desafíos, todos estos retos que hemos tenido para poder lograr estar donde estamos en este momento. Y pues bien, me gustaría contar que pues yo radico aquí en Baja California desde hace 35 años. Por cuestiones de la migración, nos tuvimos que venir aquí a lo que es la franja fronteriza, para buscar una mejor condición de vida, económica también, pues sabemos que las comunidades del sur pues solamente tienen el sustento económico de sus cosechas, entonces siempre hay que hacer un poco más para obtener esta parte económica. Soy de San Martín Peras, Oaxaca, actualmente pues radico en una comunidad rural aquí en el Valle de San Quintín, aquí al sur de la capital de lo que es el estado de Baja California. Pues quiero compartir un poco con ustedes lo que significa para mí pues el ser mujer en mi comunidad, pues es donde las voces pues son silenciadas, donde el respeto pues es escaso por el simple hecho pues de ser mujeres. Desde el nacimiento pues se valora solamente pues a los hombres y nosotros somos como un objeto económico que en algún momento dado de nuestras vidas puede ser a partir de los 12, 14 años, donde pues muchas de nosotras han sido vendidas a alguien que las seleccionó, ¿no? Ni siquiera es como aquí donde se le conoce aquí en el occidentalismo como un cortejo, ¿no? Y en el caso de mi familia somos 7 mujeres y solamente 2 hombres. En nuestra comunidad, pues las mujeres eran consideradas más una carga, ¿verdad? Pues para los hombres, para nuestras familias, y los hombres pues son los más valiosos. A mí me inspira mucho al día de hoy mis hermanas mayores. ¿Por qué? Porque pues ellas enfrentaron muchas situaciones, ¿verdad? Muchas precariedades, sin embargo, pues hasta el día de hoy han sido inteligentes por el simple hecho de tener con ellas el valor de nuestras abuelas, de nuestros ancestros. Si bien no los conocimos pues a todas ellas, ¿verdad? Nuestras ancestras, pero sí podemos hablar de nuestras bisabuelas, de nuestras abuelas, que con su consejo, su valentía también de cómo posicionarnos como mujeres, pues dentro de nuestra familia nos dio las herramientas para lograr muchas cosas que no se hubieran logrado, y una de ellas, pues salir de esa comunidad donde los usos y costumbres pues son muy fuertes y nos traen, ¿verdad? Pues nos silencian aún más. Para nosotros como mujeres pues es normal, ¿no? De que pues como mujeres indígenas no se crea en nosotras, que piensen que por ser indígenas pues estamos destinadas a un oficio, estamos destinadas, ¿verdad?, a ser mujeres. Constantemente se nos pregunta si eres indígena, ¿sabes cocinar? Sí, sabes trabajar en las casas, pero nunca se nos dice si qué te gustaría hacer, ¿no? De grande. Yo creo que es esencial pues entender también que nosotros como mujeres indígenas pues tenemos derecho a recibir una educación de calidad y a tener pues también un futuro prometedor. Me siento como mujer empoderada porque la educación pues ha sido una herramienta muy poderosa para mí. Las mujeres que me antecedieron pues no tuvieron esta oportunidad. Sin embargo, siempre lo anhelaron y pues sus responsabilidades siempre estaban ligadas al bienestar familiar, ¿no? Siempre tienes que pensar en el esposo, en tus hijos, en tus sobrinos, entonces, y el estar en casa, pero nunca fuera de ella, ¿no? Entonces me siento inspirada por ellas, yo creo que por eso me gusta mucho estudiar, por eso es una corta edad para una mujer indígena el poder terminar un doctorado, ¿no? Y si no lo hice antes era porque pues también no tuve las oportunidades, ya cuando descubrí este mundo de la virtualidad y que puedo estar actualizada, pues lo empecé a hacer, ¿no? Y si lo hubiese entendido pues mucho antes, creo que hubiese sido a una edad todavía aún más temprana y pues ellas son mi inspiración, ¿no? Ellas me dieron la oportunidad pues de forjar este futuro, no solamente para mí, sino pues también para todos aquellos que no, aquellas niñas, adolescentes y jóvenes que no lo han podido lograr, ¿no? Y pues valoro mucho a mis ancestras, mi madre, mis hermanas me enseñaron pues a valorar quién soy, el color de mi piel, mi lengua, todos los valores que aún puedo tener el orgullo de conservar y de decir, el poder de la palabra es muy importante pues para nosotros como mujeres indígenas. A pesar de que hoy en día pues todavía existen comentarios despectivos acerca de lo que es mi persona, acerca de mi persona como profesionista, de mi persona como mujer, llegar a esta edad y no haberme casado, no tener una familia propia, pues es algo que es innombrable incluso dentro de la sociedad mixteca a la que pertenezco y que a lo mejor pues no está dentro, ¿no? de lo que ellos consideran como lo correcto y incluso el que yo sepa manejar largas distancias, el que haya viajado a otros países, pues para ellos no es un gran logro, ¿no? Al contrario, es algo pues también, no solamente sufrimos la discriminación del lugar donde estamos, sino también de nuestros propios pueblos, cuando ven que lo que hacemos no encaja dentro de los usos y costumbres que se han realizado, ¿no? Entonces, creo que me siento orgullosa de mi identidad, de mis raíces, de lo que represento, de los colores, de la esencia misma de mi cultura. Hay muchas cosas que podemos fortalecer. Yo pues trabajo en el medio indígena con niñas, trabajo formando docentes y muchos de ellos pues son niñas y jóvenes indígenas que están viviendo en muchas ocasiones lo que en su momento yo viví, pero me da mucho gusto el poder abonar a su formación, el poder decirles que no están solas y que pueden seguir caminando, que pueden seguir soñando hasta llegar a terminar una licenciatura, y que nadie tiene derecho, ¿verdad?, a truncar pues esos sueños. Yo lo tuve que forjar sola en conjunto pues con mis hermanas, y ellas me animaron, ¿no? Y me dijeron, si tú tienes la oportunidad, logra tus objetivos y nosotras, no era ese apoyo emocional como lo conocemos, era un apoyo de resistencia, era un apoyo de valentía, porque mi papá no quería darnos pues esta educación, ¿no? Entonces, ahora pues para concluir ya con esta parte, puedo decir que dentro de mi comunidad, pues el tema de que nosotros tengamos voz y voto, pues está, ¿verdad?, mejorando. Aún nos falta mucho por hacer, pero ya hay una pequeña participación, el empoderamiento pues femenino está creciendo y me alegra pues ver la participación de las mujeres pues en la política local de usos y costumbres y también de otros ámbitos. El salir pues de nuestros pueblos nunca fue una elección, ¿sí? Fue una necesidad, pero esto nos ha ayudado también a dejar huella y a hacer una fortaleza para lo que somos, ¿no? Y amamos lo que somos como mujeres indígenas y también pues decir que queremos lograr mucho y que queremos revolucionar esta parte de sí seguir disfrutando de ser mujeres indígenas, pero también seguirnos posesionando en nuestros derechos en todos los aspectos.
Paulina, muchísimas gracias. Muy importante todo lo que comentas. Seguramente va a haber muchas preguntas al final de la sesión. Entonces, muchas gracias por haber aceptado la invitación y por acompañarnos en esta conferencia.
Muchas gracias, muy amable.
Esperemos que no sea la única ocasión.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you very much, Paulina. Thank you, Dan. Aditya, we back to you. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Lily, for this wonderful presentation. And also thank you to Paulina for sharing her insights and her experiences. It was very informative and also very inspiring to know that women of the mixed community are, taking ownership of their own lives and working to empower each other. So thank you to the both of you. Now I would like to request Udita to please introduce our next speaker.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Aditya. It's my absolute pleasure and honor to introduce our second speaker today. She's Dr. Hamsa Wahini Singh, and it's my absolute pleasure to introduce her. She's a professor of German language at Banistali Vidyapeeth in Rajasthan. She has been a source of inspiration for more than 16,000 students studying at the university. I'm very proud to mention that I'm also an alumni of this university. And in a career spanning more than 3 decades, Dr. Hamsa Wahini Singh has motivated her students to not only hone their language, but also like interpersonal skills to become dreamers and achievers. And over the years, Dr. Singh has also played a very key role in providing opportunities to many young scholars to become ambassadors of change around the world. She has successfully organized a number of exchange programs, made various scholarships accessible to the students. Dr. Singh has also contributed significantly to translation of several well-known works, not only in German, but also in Hindi and Tamil. Additionally, she has also supported budding translators by providing them the platform to publish their works. She was also invited to the Literary Colloquium in Berlin as a best translator for Tamil. She is an Erasmus Mundus Fellow and was a visiting faculty in the Indology Department of Milan and Aarhus University. Dr. Hamsa Wahini Singh, she's closely associated with Servus International. She currently serves as the Servus International Coordinator to the United Nations, New York, Geneva, and Vienna, and also the National Peace Secretary for India. Also, I would like to mention that on 19 January 1999, driven by the utmost desire to spread the message of non-violence, peace, and love, Dr. Hamsa Wahini Singh also embarked on a world cycle tour with her husband and daughter. She and her daughter pedaled 13,000 kilometers over a stretch of an year, while her husband rode on for another year to cover 25,000 kilometers. I think this is a very, very amazing achievement. And I would also like to add at this point that Dr. Hamsa Wahini Singh has been my personal mentor and teacher, and one of my most favorite persons since almost every day of my life. If I could become anything today, it's because Dr. Singh believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. So Dr. Singh, she has been a guiding light, not only for her students, for me, and for many others. I wish you more power and more strength to you, Dr. Singh. Professor Singh, the stage is yours now. Over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, am I audible now? Yeah, Audible now? Yeah. Audible now?
Yes, yes, you're audible, but I think there is a little bit of echo.
Better now?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So thank you, Udita. That was a wonderful introduction of me, and I'm lucky to have students like you all. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all those who are present here. Dan, can you share my screen right now? As the sun's rays break through the fog on a cold January morning, Pinky 7 years, Payal 9 years, and Suva Devi 50 years. Get ready
You
for
can
a
start
long day
later on.
Hello. Payal and Pinky need to
Dan?
help their mothers in preparing the food
Are you
and
not saying
cleaning.
it?
Later in the day.
Were you saying
Dan,
that?
can you pause that, please?
Yes.
Yeah, can you pause that? So I just want to give an introduction about what is my presentation about.
Okay.
You're not audible at the moment. Can you see if you're on mute?
Are you, so did you want me to start the video or you were going to introduce a video?
I think
Aditya, should I start the video or should I wait for Hamza? I see Hamza.
yeah, I think she has exited the chat, but if we could just wait a minute, I believe she wanted to give a very brief introduction before the video starts. So if we
Okay.
could just hold
Yep.
on for a yeah.
We're still waiting on Dr. Hamza Singh.
She's here now, but I think she is muted. I will see if I can unmute her.
Mute.
Yes, please go on.
So we can see Hamza, but I can't hear her yet. I'm not sure.
You need to unmute. I'm unable to speak. When I
Oh,
speak, I'm not
I can
audible.
hear you now. I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
speak.
you can hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good morning and good afternoon and good evening to all those who are present there. My presentation is about 3 nomadic women and their story and struggle. And Aditya gave a brief introduction about the nomads. So once you see the video, you'll understand what I want to talk about. And I'll request Dan to start my video. Dan, can you please start the video now?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
As the sun's rays break through the fog on a cold January morning, Pinky 7 years, Payal 9 years, and Suva Devi 50 years. Get ready for a long day of chores. Payal and Pinky need to help their mothers in preparing the food and cleaning. Later in the day, when the mothers are busy working, they both will take care of their younger siblings. Suva Devi's morning starts with helping her daughter-in-law, after which she goes to work with her 2 sons. Life is not easy for the 3 of them. Their community mostly resides in makeshift settlements,
by the roadside, under flyover or bridges, or on the outskirts of the city. 9-year-old Payal and her family have been living under the bridge on a highway since the last 1 year. Payal has 5 siblings, 1 elder and younger brother each, as well as 3 younger sisters. Her mother gave birth to her 6th child, a daughter, 2 months ago. Payal needs to take care of this child when her parents go to work with her grandfather. Her brothers also do petty jobs, such as selling drinking water, fruits, and cold drinks to the travelers passing through the highway, where their family lives. Sometimes these children, they beg and earn a few rupees. None of them want to go to school, and when asked, they said they are happy with what they are doing. This is the only life they have known. His parents are blacksmiths by profession. As you saw in the video, they prepare iron tools like axes, swords, daggers, and many other things in the traditional way. Sometimes the children's grandmother comes to visit them when Payal's parents are away. The story of Pinky is no different. She lives with her parents and 3 brothers in a makeshift tent. She helps her mother in cleaning, cooking, and washing. After the meal in the morning, her parents leave the home in search of work in the nearby fields or at the construction site. If they are lucky and toil the whole day, then both of them could earn up to 250 to 300 rupees, approximately $3 to $4 a day. But there is no guarantee that they'll earn this amount of money every day. Both the parents need to go far in search of a job. It falls on the young shoulders of Pinky to take care of her brothers and guard their home till her parents return. The whole day the children sit idle but are not keen to go to school because of the fear of getting evicted. Suva Devi is a widow residing in an open land on the roadside with her 23-year-old son Jeetpal Lohar and his wife. Suva Devi's 4 other sons, Dolu, Fauji, Tehsil, and Gulla, live with her as well. After her husband's death, she decided to settle here permanently and has been living in this place since the past 25 years. Until now, it was difficult for her to make both the ends meet. However, 2 of her sons have recently started working, and since then, their life struggle has become a little less. To understand the circumstances of our 3 subjects, we must take a look briefly at the history of nomads in India. India has the largest number of population of tribal people in the world. They are found in several parts of the country. According to the Article 342 of the Indian Constitution, there are 697 tribes living in India. As per the census of 2011, the total population of scheduled tribes is approximately 104.5 million, which accounts for 8.6% of total population of the country. In the state of Rajasthan, the population of scheduled tribes is approximately 9 million, accounting to nearly 13% of the population. Before the introduction of a special resolution by the Government of India, the nomadic people were broadly classified as nomadic tribes and denotified tribes. The nomadic tribes like Sapera, snake charmers, Madari, entertainers, Banjara,
goods transporters, Gadia Lohars, blacksmiths, and Aradi, devotional singers, have been crucial parts of India's cultural heritage. During the British colonial rule in India, most of the nomadic tribes were branded born criminals, and thus was born a long history of stigmatization and exclusion. Similarly, denotified refers to all those communities which were earlier classified as being born criminals under the Criminal Tribes Act 1871 by the British government. These acts were repealed by the independent Indian government in 1952, and the communities were then denotified. They are now listed under three main categories: the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and other backward communities. The tribes are also known as the Adivasis, indigenous, and Vimukh Jati are Gumantu. They have a very rich and distinct cultural heritage that is totally different from other communities and groups of the mainstream society. Their culture can be easily identified by their daily practices, customs, rituals, folklore, dialect, food habits, and dress pattern. Their lifestyle and profession also reflect their distinct culture. According to Social Justice and Empowerment Department, Government of Rajasthan, there are 10 major scheduled or nomadic tribes and 13 semi-nomadic tribes. Payal, Pinky, and Suvadevi belong to the extremely poor nomadic tribal community of Gadia Lohar, who are originally from Chittorgarh district of Rajasthan. Gadia refers to a bullock cart and Loha means blacksmith. Their origin is shrouded in legend. Their forefathers used to make iron tools and iron weapons for the army of the Rajput king Maharana Pratap of Chittorgarh. When Rana Pratap's army was defeated at the Battle of Haldighati in 1576, the Gadia remained loyal to him, following him into the forest and aiding him in the skirmishes with Mughal army in a long drawn-out struggle that continued even after his death. Legend has it that after the fortress of Chittorgarh fell to the Mughals, the Gadia Lohars took vow never to return to their homeland and never to settle anywhere else until the Rana's hegemony was restored. Consequently, the blacksmiths kept their promise to the king and became nomads, moving with their belongings from one place to another place in bullock carts. As mentioned earlier, the Gadia Lohars primarily earned their livelihood through manufacturing and selling iron tools and utensils. Most of the settlements are situated along roads and pavements, which helps them to carry on their trade and find customers. During my interactions with them, I found that most of them are caught between the conservation of the traditions and modern ways of life. They are unable to balance the two, and this has resulted in increasing poverty amongst them. Gadia Lohars have been victimized by both history and the present. In spite of their contribution to the material culture of India, their community's cultural identity, which is built on their traditional blacksmithing work, is also being washed away as a profession. Now provides bare minimum sustenance. The Gadi or cart is like a home for Gadia Lohar families. It accommodates all their household belongings. The thalia, whose door can be locked, is used to place their cash, ornaments, spices, pulses, frozen ghee, etc. In other words, it is their safe. The rest of the household stuff is placed on the main structure of the cart. A small cart is placed below the guardia to take rest. Due to the shift in their socio-economic status, these nomads are faced with following challenges in their day-to-day life. The women folk in the Gadia Lohar families are multitaskers who manage the family business along with the domestic chores like cooking, childcare, laundry, etc. They cook the meals for the family 2 times, and this is done on the firewood. The makeshift kitchen has bare minimum utensils. Gadia Lohar, who refuse to be a part of the slums, want to maintain their distinct cultural identity and have their settlements in open space alongside the road. As a result, they face lack of access to basic amenities and housing facilities. Most households do not have access to clean drinking water. Government water supply does not reach their settlements, so they fetch water from the tap or hand pumps located at distance. And this responsibility is mostly shared by the women and girls in the family. Due to the shortage of water, these families are unable to take regular baths for days and sometimes even weeks, which worsens their personal hygiene. The absence of drinking water and access to the electricity poses severe challenges for them, and it is a violation of basic human rights. The lack of access to toilets and adequate sanitation facilities emerged as one of the major challenges. These families reported that the absence of toilets leads to great difficulty, especially for women and girls, and it violates their right to privacy and dignity protected under the Constitution of India. It also increases their vulnerability to sexual and gender-based violence and abuse. Since they don't have the toilets, they are forced to use the public toilets or to go in the open fields. The women have to defecate in the open, and especially before daybreak, which is an inconvenience for them. There is no proper drainage system, leading to human and animal excreta being scattered all around and posing a major health hazard for the residents. The Gadia Lohar community is patriarchal. The women generally face issues related to their health or nutritional requirements. They are the last one to eat in the family after feeding everyone. The women need consent from their husbands or any family members to go to the government hospitals. Most of the times, they resort to home remedies and consulting quacks due to so many superstitions. Health awareness among the Gadia Lohar is very poor. In addition to poverty, ignorance is the main reason they do not avail the government health facilities. They also suffer from high level of malnourishment and are vulnerable to a number of infections. Due to poverty, the children don't have access to the education. Female education is very poor in this community. Most girl children don't go to school. Others drop out at an early age, and very few make it to the secondary education. As soon as they attain puberty, the young girls are married off. The women suffer even in the day-to-day activities. Due to lack of availability and access of clean cooking fuel, they struggle on rainy days as they have to depend on coal and wood for cooking. They keep their carts covered with plastic sheets during the winter and the rainy season. It is clear that the Gadia Lohar community is one of the marginalized and vulnerable nomadic communities in Rajasthan. The points mentioned so far highlight the deplorable living conditions and violations of human rights guaranteed under the Constitution of India and various international laws ratified by India. As per the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India, and members of other NGOs, the following recommendations have been considered and implemented to alleviate the Gadia Lohar from poverty and discrimination. Making the government's housing scheme available will relieve them from the misery of having to use shared toilets, lack of access to the clean drinking water, and health facilities. Emphasis should be given to the education of children. Government policies which facilitate education of children, especially the girl child, should reach these community members. Skill enhancement programs for the nomads will help both men and women to diversify their source of income. Lack of proper documents needed to register themselves for various welfare schemes is a major concern. Proper listing of the settlements and facilitating documents which are needed for registering them for government scheme should be provided so that they can benefit from these schemes. Few families are aware of it and possess ration card and Aadhaar government identity card that are needed for banking, traveling, franchising, residential address, driving license, etc. However, a majority of Gadia Lohars lack awareness of beneficial schemes, even though there are several available for the economically weaker sections of the society. Awareness programs may raise their chances of availing these benefits. Women especially have less knowledge and about government assistance or initiatives. So such awareness programs should be organized in their settlements. Women empowerment can bring changes in the social structure, and these recommendations or policies and suggestions, if properly executed, will help them to improve their lives, educational status, skills, and health. Hence, Gadia Lohar Welfare Board needs to be established in order to assess and remedy the historical injustices faced by this community. Despite the bleak circumstances, there is a ray of hope, much like the sunlight piercing through the fog. The community has seen many ambassadors of change over the years, one of them being Kamala Lohar. She is a resident of Jodhpur, presently working as sub-inspector in the Rajasthan Police Service. She got married to Rasya Ram in 2013, and he is a school teacher. They have a daughter. Kamala is the youngest among the 4 siblings. Elder brother Kailash Chauhan is a government school teacher. Sister Rekha is a housewife. And the second brother Nitin is a photographer. Kamala is a national level hockey player. Her success is inspiring for all the daughters of the Lohar community, because even today, only a few of them are able to study and write. The true path to progress opens only through education, says Kamala. Deepa Pawar, also a member of community, is a core team member of the nationally and internationally acclaimed Right to Pee campaign, a grassroots young women-led initiative for safe, accessible, and dignified public toilets for women, girls, trans persons, and the disabled. As a voice for social and economic justice for girls and women, she writes in newspapers and magazines. speaks on news channels and advocates with the government officials and political leaders. Deepa is the winner of 2018 Tell Her Story contest held by University of California, Berkeley.
नमस्ते दीदी। तो थे मतलब जो काम करो छो तो ई काम के ऊपर डिपेंड छो या फिर कोई और काम भी करो छो
यो काम करे तो मारे तो देरदारी न करे और वही काम करे
और मतलब थोड़ा
थोड़ी बर्बाद आ
सोरा जी पढ़े छो ग्रेजुएशन तक करे छो तो आगे पढ़े को ना को
16वीं पढ़ली।
हाँ लेकिन फिर आगे कोई काम करे थे लेकिन ऑफिस और कोई काम नहीं करे या न करे सरकारी नौकरी की काई
नौकरी तो लगाओ था पर बोझ की में लगाओ था जो बोझ लगी ना लगाई
और था को राशन कार्ड वगैरह बन गो पहचान पत्र ये तो और ये गिरीवाड़ा गेहूं मतलब क्या मतलब
इन कौन मिल जाए
अच्छा यार न मतलब
इन न मिल जाए मार रामपुर में न मिल
तो थे तो ये वही काम करो तो मतलब ये बनावा कुकुर पावड़ी और कुलाड़ी ये शाम को काम करो तो आपने जो बाई थी जो पढ़े थे कौन पढ़ा
सब पढ़ा था छोरा छोरी आंटी
सब पढ़ा
करे सब छोरा छोरी.
Just now we saw a clipping and it tells the success story of two strong women from Gadia Lohar community. Salute to Chamma Devi and Prem Devi for their vision and mission. These two women never seen a school and are illiterate, but both realized and understood the importance of education. Hence, they motivated their sons and sent them to school and later on to the college. On completing the graduation, they got the job with the Indian Army. But due to the family fears and pressures, they could not join. Since then, the sons Shoraj and Papu followed the footsteps of their ancestors and are making iron tools and utensils. Because of their exposure, education, and entrepreneurial skill, they are successful today and are in a position to provide a decent living to their families and to educate their children. I would like to conclude with a positive note that India's poverty rate has declined to 5% in 2022-23, with rural poverty declining to 7.2% and urban poverty down to 4.6%. This decline is attributed to government programs targeted at those who are at the bottom of the pyramid. I hope that the nomadic people will benefit from these programs offered by the state and central government aimed at their upliftment. To bring change and empower in the lives of the Gadia Lohar women, one needs more such Kamalas, Deepas, Chamma Devis and Prem Devis. Efforts must be made for their upliftment, but keeping in mind to preserve their uniqueness and culture and integrating the Gadia Lohar into the mainstream society. I am sure there will be a positive change in the lives of the Gadia Lohar community and hope the life of this 2-month-old baby would be different from that of her mother or her grandmother. Thank you all for listening to me. I also would like to thank Dr. Shweta Dubey and Buddhi Prakash Berba for the interviews, videos and photographs. My thanks goes to Aditya Divya Singh for helping me with collection and compilation of this presentation. This would not have been possible without the support of Sarvas International. Thanks Sarvas International for this opportunity. A big thanks go to Dan, Julie, Kent and Udita for their support.
Thank you so much, Professor Singh, for this presentation. Very touching, heartbreaking at some points as well, and also very inspiring. I think the more we talk about such social issues in this nomadic community of India at a platform like CSW 68, I think more our cause and our voice will find some outreach solutions, hopefully one day, and I'm hopeful. I thank you very much for sharing this, and over to you, Aditya.
Thank you, Dr. Singh, and thank you, Udita. Now we are going to open up for questions. So I have noticed that throughout the chat, we have been receiving some questions. So our first question is to Lily Kerekis, and this is from Anuradha from India. And I would just read it out for you here. So the question is, Lily, that what does discrimination against indigenous women, why does discrimination against indigenous women continue to predominate?
Well, I think Paulina is the right person to answer this question. Paulina, ¿estás aquí?
Sí, aquí estoy.
¿Por qué crees que la discriminación contra las mujeres indígenas continúa en México?
Sí, gracias. Sí, pues yo creo que es porque todavía, aunque existen las leyes, el patriarcado aún está muy presente. Quienes están al frente de las leyes gubernamentales, pues siguen siendo hombres que aunque pues hay leyes que nos respaldan, donde no debiera de existir la discriminación hacia las mujeres, pues se sigue disfrazando. Ellos pueden decir, firmar documentos, pero recientemente yo acabo de salir de un trabajo, porque hay muchas cosas que todavía no se entienden y que lejos de ayudarnos a seguir mejorando en estos espacios profesionales, pues delimitan el trabajo que estamos haciendo, ¿no? Sobre todo con las mujeres. Y pues ahorita está esto de las leyes nacionales, internacionales, de la paz, pero no se respetan y sigue habiendo mucha discriminación hacia nosotras las mujeres y que no se nos da la oportunidad de participar a la par.
Muchas gracias, Pau. Pau shared with us that this discrimination continues because the people that makes the law are men. And even we have more laws that protect women and indigenous women. They are in paper, but they are not in reality. They don't take place in reality. And there are many laws, national and international, that are in the paper. And since are the men who takes over the leaderships, these laws are not, they are not taking place in the reality. That's why. Muchas gracias, Pau.
De nada.
We have another question for Lily and Pauline. The second question is again from India, and this is by Prachi. She asks, what recent important struggles have taken place in Mexico in favor of women?
Well, I think lots of struggles. For example, fortunately, we have now a law that women now can have abortion if they decide to do it, and it's cheap and it's open to anyone who wants to make an abortion, but it's only in Mexico City. It's difficult to have these laws in another parts of Mexico. And we recently celebrate the 8th March, the International Day of Women, and we can protest now and feel more secure in the streets, because in previous years the police was there to attack always. And now every protest, not only women, you can take the streets and there will be especially police women to protect the protesters, not to attack them. I think it's very, very important. And also the LGBT community, I think that they are safer now. They can, they have much more spaces to share their voices. And in general, I think, yeah, we have gained more and more spaces in general in economics, culture, and social places. Thanks.
That's very, very heartening to know that the circumstances are changing for the better. Since you say that it's becoming better, we have another question from Kent, who asks that, do you think that if Mexico had a new government headed by a woman, it will be good for them, or is this not guaranteed?
Well, I think nothing is guaranteed because we had a Margaret Thatcher right, and that was not really good for anyone. But in these circumstances, I can truly say that it's very, very important that we have not only Claudia Sheinbaum that is running for president, but also Clara Brugada. And I truly can say that they work very, very hard, and their actions talk by themselves. They are not only words, but actions. So many programs for, especially for marginalized people in general. If you come to Mexico, I will be very proud to show you all the programs that Clara is running right now. Lots of people in marginalized communities. And I think this will be a very, very important step to Mexico in general. And I will be very happy if Claudia takes over.
Thank you. I have one last question for you here. And this is somewhat related to the question that you had just answered. So this question is again from India, from Amrita. And her question is, what changes did you notice since the new government in Mexico took office?
Well, indeed, I have many friends of service that they follow with lots of attention our new government. And I can truly say also that in just a few years, this government has done lots of changes for good, very deep changes. And again, it's not only words, but actions. And especially, I can say that lots of originary communities respect this new president because they have done many important things to them. And I want to maybe ask Paulina also if she can share about good things that this president has done for originary communities. For example, we have never seen so many things, but especially the originary communities has given López Obrador, I don't remember the word, but it's the cane that is very important to this and symbolic to these communities. And this is the only president that has received this kind of symbolic leadership cane. Paulina, ¿sigues aquí? Oh, okay. You can look and sí. ¿Nos quieres compartir acerca de las comunidades que le han brindado el bastón de mando a López Obrador? ¿Para ti es importante o a lo mejor no?
Sí, pues creo que hasta este sexenio que está López Obrador hemos tenido un poco más de visibilidad, la que siempre debimos de haber tenido. Sin embargo, pues él es el que nosotros lo llamamos en nuestras comunidades como el Tata Cárdenas, que también en su periodo de muchos años. Él también tuvo mucha presencia dentro de nuestras comunidades, convivió con nosotros, conoció nuestras necesidades pues de raíz, y eso ha ayudado mucho, ¿no? A tener una pues conexión con el presidente, y pues también a que las organizaciones volteen a vernos. Creo que algo que hemos peleado mucho como comunidades indígenas y como mujeres indígenas es que no queremos que se nos vea como algo especial, sino que también se nos tome como parte de que tenemos, como yo mencionaba en el video, que tenemos los derechos, pero que también tenemos muchas posibilidades para incursionar en el mundo político, en la ciencia, en la economía. Y pues él le ha dado mucha visibilidad, estamos contentos, pero todavía, ¿verdad? De hecho, muchas comunidades, políticos, pues se cambiaron a lo que es el partido político de él, pero pues realmente no están haciendo el trabajo. Entonces es cuando él va a las comunidades, se da cuenta de esto y pues sabe que no es parte, ¿verdad? De lo que él trabaja. Pero también ha sido una lucha, pero sí estamos contentos con el trabajo, sobre todo por la visibilización que le ha dado a las comunidades, pero también sobre todo a las mujeres.
¿Y qué opinas de Claudia y Clara?
Claudia, pues sigue trabajando, ¿no? Con este modelo que dejó él, que va a dejar López Obrador. Sin embargo, pues hay muchos hombres detrás de ella a quienes nosotros no les tenemos la confianza, porque se ha comprobado que tienen prácticas pues ilegales dentro del gobierno, y pues ella los ha llamado, ¿verdad?, a conformar esta parte política, pero pues es ahí donde nosotros deberemos de tener cuidado y pues también respaldarla a ella como mujer. Sería la primera. Sabemos que ha enfrentado pues muchos retos, he tenido la oportunidad pues de escucharla, trae muy buenas propuestas, una mujer muy preparada, pero ahora es el momento pues de respaldarla y cuidar mucho el que ella pueda llegar a este espacio y lograr todas estas propuestas positivas que no solamente trae para el país, sino también pues para empoderar a las mujeres.
Muchas gracias, Pau. Yes, Paulina said that in previous years, they called Lázaro Cárdenas, the president Lázaro Cárdenas, Tata Cárdenas, because at the same position of López Obrador, they take into account all these originary communities and especially gave them visibility. So they, yes, they appreciate a lot López Obrador actions, but they don't want to that we as a society see them as special communities, but part of our society, and they have many things to give in social spaces, politics, economics. And about Claudia Sheinbaum, that is running for president, I agree with Paulina. She's a very talented and intelligent woman, but unfortunately, they have she has many men beside her in her team, and men that are corrupted, and we all know that they are corrupted, and we are very worried about that. But it's our responsibility to take care of the new government if Claudia wins, to be a good government, like López Obrador has been with us, a very good government. And also, because she's a woman, we trust that women will have more opportunities and more spaces. And that was all. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kerekes. I think it was really insightful. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and ideas. I also have a couple of questions for Dr. Singh. So the first question comes from Rachel from US. Can you share any success stories of any Gadia Lohar women who have benefited from the schemes mentioned by you? I think you're
Dr.
mute. I think you're still on mute.
Yeah, I mentioned about a couple of women who were successful as a Gadia Lohar. In a recent time, on the 8th of March, on the Women's Day, not only the famous or those who have achieved the success, there's media coverage of those people who are, from the middle class or from the lower middle class. There's one Bubbly from Delhi. She has 4 children. And she's supporting her family by going and working and then educating them. So she got the prize for, she got the media award for her devotion as a nomadic woman, trying to help the community.
We also have another question.
That's answer for my, yeah.
Okay, sure. So we have another question coming from Jen Devon. What has the Indian government done for the welfare of the nomadic community? If you can share some thoughts.
Yeah, Udita, since last many years, government started an initiative which is called Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee in 2005, and it's called Manrega. And it is for the benefit and the Indian social welfare measure, which aims and guarantees work for people for 100 days. And they have the facility within 5 kilometers, they'll have to find a job and they have to give the application. And especially for these kind of marginalized people and women especially, government motivates and encourages them to take up the job. And in case if they don't have the job, for the first 1 month, they get 1/3 of the salary, which is about $3. And then later on, even after 1 month, if they are unable to find a job, half of that thing, which means about $4 to $5, each family would be getting per day. That is one thing. Now, there are many education and scholarships available for this OBC, other backward community, and especially for the economically poor people. So they have to tap that. And then if it is done, it's possible for them to make use of these schemes. As I told you during my presentation in the video also, they have to approach the government. And there are few lacunas. If that we overcome that, then these, facilities could be availed by the marginalized people.
Thank you, Dr. Singh, for sharing that. We also have another question coming from Kent McCauley from Canada. And the question is that, are there currently any effective programs already in place to reduce the poverty among the Rajasthani nomadic people, and especially the women?
Yeah, the government has sent you, they have a card called below poverty line. So once they have this below poverty line, and they can get at least 5 to 2,000 per month. That is one facility which the government has given. And they also get free ration, which is the basic thing which they can go and get from the fair price shop. And also the government has started a health program. With the card, they can go and approach any hospital, and there is a coverage of about 500,000 for each person. they have the medical insurance and they can avail the government health facilities. That is a very good initiative. And recently, just last week, there was an announcement by the Prime Minister of India saying that each and every small districts, not only districts, also the panchayat will have medical facility, and they are connected with the doctors from all over the India, and they take guidance from the doctors, teleconferencing with the doctors from the remote village. And you know that India is quite popular now with the digital success we have. And with the digital, the facility with the internet facility, they can avail that.
I would just like to interrupt here, Rita. We can take one more question and a rather shortish answer because we are running a little over time already.
Sure. So maybe I can finish with the recent question I see on the screen from Rachel from US. Are there any non-profits on the ground who can go around and help them to fill out those forms and inform them of any government opportunities?
Yeah, Udita, every colleges.
Yeah, let me just say one more thing. She's also mentioning in the chat that it seems like there is a disconnect between the poor on the streets, the available resources and technology which they do not have access to.
Two things I would like to mention here. Every college, they have National Social Service Scheme. And they go to villages and they adopt 2 or 3 villages. And it is compulsory for the students who are doing graduation, or maybe if they have interest, they also have social work department in each colleges. So they make these villages and talk about these facilities, about the hygiene, about the policies, about the opportunities for the people there. And they'll have a model village. They have a target, okay, we'll adopt these 2 villages and we'll try to help them. And these kind of villages are coming now. And one more thing I want to say, there are many NGOs who are doing social service and they
I think we cannot hear you anymore. Aditya, could you check if...
Yeah, I'm there, very much there. Hello?
Okay.
Yeah. So you can take the horse to the water, but you cannot make it drink. So you have to approach these people, tell them the benefits, the possibility. You have to talk about the benefits of education, hygiene, and other things, especially for the women who are very superstitious and they follow that and they don't like to go to the hospital. And we can motivate them, the NGOs are supporting and working in this direction. It takes
I think there is a poor connection there. I'm sorry, but I will have to cut you here, ma'am. So I thank you for answering the questions. My biggest takeaway, I think, and what we can all agree upon is that there are many policies that already exist for the indigenous people and also for the nomadic people. But I think it is essential to bridge the gap between the policy and ensure that they are implemented at the grassroots level. And throughout the course of history, nomadic and indigenous populations have played a considerable role in the evolution of humans, cultures, and in the judicious use of territories and natural resources, and judicious being a very key word here. It is necessary to preserve them from extinction, those systems of life that are part of the common cultural heritage of humankind. Moreover, these populations with their knowledge and traditional practices are vital to understanding and developing methods and lifestyles which are sustainable and environmentally conscious. And in the world that we live now, it becomes even more important to understand their way and means of life and to learn from them, in fact. I would like to conclude with thanking our speakers today. We had Lily Kerekes and Hamsavaini Singh and also Paulina. So thank you for joining us and sharing these very inspiring, sometimes heartbreaking stories, but also very necessary stories that we need to hear and work on together. I would also like to thank Dan Baer and I misnamed her earlier, but also Julie Emery and Udita Bagchi for their support. And last but not the least, it was also very heartening to see members from all around the world joining us today. I think we all work together, we are all connected, and our hope of making a better world together, we shall keep working on that. So thank you so much, everyone, and I wish you a good evening or a good day, depending on wherever you are.